And let me just say something about Shyne too, because I said on my TikTok, Shyne did not shoot me because he didn't. But Shyne is a con artist. Let me just put that right out here now. Everybody's like, oh, we know Shyne was innocent. No, you don't know a daggone thing because he's far from innocent. Back in the days, there was a podcaster, and I'm sure you may be familiar with him. Do you remember Combat Jack podcast? One of the early days? Of course.
Yeah, R.I.P. to him. Yeah.
R.I.P. to Combat Jack. He did a show back in the days when Shyne was still screaming from the rafters how Puffy double-crossed him, threw him under the bus. He did a podcast, he had Shyne on it, and Shyne said, I can almost quote, somebody had played, now you can't even find the full podcast. You may be able to go in the Wayback Machine and find it. They look like they scrubbed it off the internet, but I'm doing a docuseries called Shot, Survivors Helping Others Through, and we captured that podcast and we have it. I have it memorialized. They did something like, brah, brah, like gunshots in the background. He was like, nah, don't do that. Because shorty Natania Reuben, that's my friend. A lot of people don't know. See, these Johnny-come-latelys don't know the real deal. Shyne, when they were trying to get Shyne a record deal, his former manager, Manny Haley, who was a friend of mine, and I used to work in his beauty salon before I opened my own, called me one day and said, yo, Eb, what's up? What you doing? I said, I'm in the studio. He was like, oh, word? You remember that youngin' that used to rhyme outside the shop? I want to bring him through. They trying to get him a deal. Let me bring him through, let him drop some bars on your session. So Shyne's record deal is because I let him come to my session and I know they took that sample as a snippet to help shop him to get a record deal. That's the irony of life. So while these people are like, oh, she just want money, you don't have a clue. Shyne said vehemently on the Combat Jack podcast, and I have a clip I will send to you. He said, Natania Reuben is my friend. I'm sorry she got hit. It was foul because we used to go to the studio with her and everything was everything. She my friend. So we don't know if my gun hit her with the ricochet because it was 4 guns in the club. We don't know. But I'm sorry it was her because that's my friend. When you listen back to it, you're going to be awestruck at how almost verbatim I just said that. Trust me, I've played it over in my head a million times. It's the number one question I've been asked for 24 years. Did they apologize to you? I'm always awestruck when people ask that. I'm like, apologize? People that's guilty don't apologize. Now, he apologized to some degree, and I had love for him for that. My sister even was the one that called me crying and said, I need you to listen to this, sit down. And she played that snippet for me originally when it first happened. And I was awestruck. Because guilty people don't apologize. But he was at least showing some contrition. Now that he's and listen, I sat back from the background and watched his ascension. Like I keep telling people, I'm not a grudge holder. I know most of y'all can't conceive of this because y'all out here holding grudges on your mama from 1900 something. I'm not her. I don't hold grudges. I don't give people free space in my prime real estate. I don't let people take up residence in my brain. God did not create my brain or wire me that way. So I want people to be held accountable for what they did, but I'm not sitting here pining, oh, I want to burn him in effigy. No, I'm not that person. I sat back and I watched Shyne's ascension. When he got deported, first he was in jail, then he got deported. He became a community activist in his community. I was proud of him. I was like, wow, he's turning his life around. I'm proud of him. Time and distance will give you the ability to make yourself anew. So I was watching him. I was very proud of him. But now that you've gotten to this place where you are the head of the opposition party and you want to ascend to prime minister of Belize, your home country where you were deported to, but when you got deported back and you started interacting with Puffy, the prime minister, the party that was in power put a rule of law in that said if you were convicted of a crime anywhere in the world, you could never be the prime minister in Belize. So now he's going to jockey off of me saying Shyne didn't shoot me to try to leverage himself to get that prime minister seat because your homeboy keeps sending his little plane over there to Belize. I don't know what y'all doing. You know, the RICO say moving bodies of females and stuff ain't my business. We're going to let the RICO charge handle that. But whatever you into, you want that access to power, and he wants you to have that access to power so he can move those human bodies through your island and whatever other packages is on that plane That's not my concern. I'm going to sit back like a spectator and watch until it plays itself out. But you want to use, oh, you see, the woman said I didn't shoot her. Did you hear the ting? Come on. When you on Drink Champs, you be like, yo, I'm saying no, because you know people said I sound like Big. And then when you talking to the local news media in Belize, you're like, I don't know what these people are discussing. The people want to take me down and I'm the... Cut the shenanigans. You ain't nothing but a penny ante shyster, a shady car salesman. You ain't nothing but a dressed up fraud. You a liar. I sat back and I watched you and I said, wow, he is making good on himself. But then you tried to, you slipped and bumped your head. And I can forgive people, but let me tell you something. When you step on that pinky toe with the corn, you done effed up. You're not going to use me to leverage your way into the prime minister seat. Shyne shot Julius Jones, and I can prove it to you. I'll bring Julius Jones to the surface to tell y'all himself. Ain't nobody seen him in 24 years. I will bring him. I will bring the proof. Shyne shot Julius Jones. He still has the bullet in his back. I'm tired of these stupid lies. And people, here's what pisses me off. In everybody's story, they keep pulling me up. Oh, the woman who was the victim, she said I didn't shoot her. What? Dude, you didn't even finish paying me. You still owe me money. Let's get that part out too. In the settlement, Shyne was responsible. They assess different degrees of responsibility for the settlement. Shyne was assessed his responsibility, but you know, because his money was dragged all out in the legal fees, he didn't have the money to pay. They also said, if you don't pay her this amount by this day, you are then subject to have to pay her this amount plus interest. I got shot 24 years ago. The case ended about 13, 14 years ago. He still owe me money, but you driving a Maybach in Belize. You walk around doing this. You were out of the country for how much years? Then you was able to get back in the country because you were the head of the... Soon as you reach back to the country, you're supposed to be doing political thing. You at Fat Joe party. Why? Is political stuff going on in Fat Joe's party? You in every party on Drink Champs, turning your narrative over and over, changing the wheel. I used to be a messenger and I was going up to all the record companies and giving them my tape. Dude, you came and rapped about Cohiba cigars in my studio session and they took that to shop you. Cut the lies and the shenanigans. See, one thing you're not going to do, you're not going to elevate yourself off the back of me with no lies. I'm not having it. I won't tolerate it. And if you don't believe me, just watch me. See, I'm that thorn in their side that they can't get rid of. You know that big, mighty Rottweiler that, and everybody's scared to walk by the gate, and then he steps on a nail, and he's, that's who they're going to be. See, you done stepped on a nail on my pinky toe with the corn. I'm not letting up. I'm not taking pressure off until you tell the truth, until you're made responsible and to face ramifications for what you did to me and what you did to Julius Jones. I'm not letting up off the gas. I'm not. Long as that pinky toe throbbing, you in for it. And I mean that with my heart and soul. Watch me.